The Austrian Grand Prix has just concluded, which only means one thing. We arrive at the halfway mark of the season with this weekend's race at Silverstone. Now, remember when I said Austria is always a guaranteed banger? Well, Silverstone is that, but on steroids. I mean, this track is just too goated since it doesn't matter what year we are in. We could be in a boring year, a mid-year, or a good year, and one thing will always be true. Silverstone was one of, if not the best race of that season. When you think of Formula 1 racetracks, the only answers you should have is Silverstone or Monza, since nothing compares to the sheer quality and aura of those two tracks. The only bad thing I have to say about the Silverstone track is that it's unfortunately in the UK, so if you ever want to go to it, you're just gonna have to cope that you're going to Britain, but look on the bright side. At least it's not France. Anyways, the karts have never been more here for this race to cook. You have the amazing layout of corners that flow insanely well, not to mention the straights. You have nearly every team being based in the UK, which means upgrades for most, if not all teams, are expected. And you have the season's grid being insanely close to each other, which only means one thing. What do you get when you have upgraded cars, and close drivers with a track that naturally produces racing? Well, you will get the best race of the 2025 season. Mark my words. Actually don't, because I'll probably end up jinxing things. Anyways, this track is awesome. We've had moments here like in 2024 with Lewis's return victory, 2022 with that classic through goes Hamilton moment, 2020 with Lewis winning on 3 tires, and 2019 with Max and Charles fighting like monsters. So buckle up, kids, since we have a weekend on our hands, and what better way to get excited than watching this video and seeing any potential upgrades coming for the teams, the drama and stories from the weekend prior, the ones to keep an eye on for, and of course, my weekend predictions that are 102% true with a 2% margin of error. So go subscribe if you're new, unless you're a Man U fan, and here is the 2025 British Grand Prix weekend preview.
See those clouds up in the corner? That's where the rain is coming from.
As always, we got the upgrades first, and like I said in my intro, since teams are based here in the UK, most teams are expected to bring an upgrade, major or minor. However, most will likely be major since this track is the track. It has everything you could want for your car, so big things are expected here for the team, so why not go all out? But remember, I'm a duck in his room and not an engineer, so don't get mad at me if I'm not 1,000,000,000% right on things. I make mistakes too. Anyways, time for upgrades, and let us begin with good old Sauber, who are practically a mainstay here. I say this because these guys love bringing in upgrade after upgrade, which last year was a total flop, but not this year. They have scored 26 points in the season and look set for more since they figured out that the upgrades they bring should probably make the car faster, hence the up and upgrade. But yeah, they should bring some parts here, so keep your eye on them. Next up, I have Alpine, who needs pace fast, man. They cannot continue being this inconsistent and confusing. Like last year when they were like this, at least they scored positions like P6 or P7, but now it's either P16 or P9. So much for Flavio's comeback. I mean, I'm sure they will eventually get back up to form, which if they do, they'll cook with Gasly at least, but if I'm being honest, guys, I don't think they'll ever get back up to form until late this year, similar to last year, but who knows? Maybe there's a great Alpine shift in Silverstone, so let us see. Next up is Aston Martin, who are obviously bringing some upgrades here. Major or minor, I don't know, but I do know that they should perform amazingly mid this week. I say this because look at every previous year with Aston. Were they good? Yeah, no. This track just doesn't suit their car, but hey man, if they can manage a P7 finish at highest, they can call that a good weekend. But still, their upgrades should work better at other tracks, so never count them out of the season. Unless he stagnated again, which also looks kind of likely. I don't know, I can never see if this team is good or bad or even mid, so let's just vibe with them this week and see where they go. Next up is Williams, who are at a crossroads right now. They're bringing some good parts here, which can be good for them, but they need to be effective, because as of late, Williams have not fallen off, but have been falling behind to everyone else. Right now, I would still say they're in no man's land, but soon enough, a team like Aston or Racing Bulls could be right on their behind and make life much harder for them. At the same time though, if they bring in major upgrades, they could start getting constant top 6 finishes and maybe pushing a team like Ferrari or Red Bull minus Max on a good day. So big things could come here for them, so pay major attention to Williams. Now for the top dogs, and I start with Red Bull. Red Bull are gonna again bring some parts for this weekend, and boy do they need it. I have said it once, I'll say it again. They're on the cusp, man. Regarding Max, if that car could just find a couple more tenths in it, it could launch Max right back up the front for victories again. And even with someone like Yuki, he could become fast again too. So I say, why wouldn't it be here in Silverstone? So please, again, stop disappointing us, guys. Next up is Ferrari, who are continuing their long development plan of upgrades, and boy do they need it. Ferrari have the drivers, the passion, the aura. We just need the car, man. I know sooner or later the upgrades will pay off, but when they do, I hope they're as good as people like Fred make it out to be, because if these upgrades are just straight bullshit and add nothing of value to it, then get that bald Frenchman out of my team. But if they do work, then give a pay raise to my French Pookie. Please, Ferrari, please, for my sanity, I just need you guys to do good again. Please, I'm on the edge, man, please. Finally, I have Mercedes and McLaren paired together. I pair them up because they start with M. No other reason. Anyways, both teams are in similar circumstances in the sense that they both have lots of money and lots of people to mass develop big upgrades. And since both are pretty huge British teams, let's be honest, Merc feel less German as the years go by. Silverstone upgrades are inevitable for these guys. So let us see how much performance each team can gain. Man, I missed the German Grand Prix. Now for the stories of the weekend, and first up is my F1 movie spoiler-free review. Now firstly, yes, the movie is very Hollywood and a lot of times corny, but in my opinion, it works out kind of well because the way the story is written, since you genuinely get into the plot and start rooting for Apex GP by the end of it. And obviously the cinematography is super fantastic and maybe a bit too good because personally, I just wanted the movie to be just the racing, but this is a movie targeted towards casuals and just moviegoers in general. So in terms of the other stuff like the heavily criticized romance plot, it truthfully wasn't that bad. Was it still unnecessary? Obviously, but have you guys seen sports movies? Most sports movies have this basic romance story in there to balance out all the sports stuff, so it was a given to be in this movie, but again, it's not like it was as bad as at least I was expecting it to be. Plus, there were plenty of other female staff in the movie who played importance in the team itself away from the drivers, and while they maybe could have been highlighted more, their inclusion is better than no inclusion, so at least you got something out of this. However, my biggest critique by far was the strategy the team employed and how most races went. I'm not going to spoil it, however, for like 90% of the races, they employ the same strategy and or have a big incident in the race, which is by far the most unrealistic portion for me. I mean, a team having this many incidents in the 9 races would surely bankrupt them despite any miracle, and if this was real life, this team wouldn't exist anymore. But I really enjoy the movie, and in terms of rating, I would give it a nice 8 out of 10 and would definitely watch it again. And in case you don't like the movie due to how unrealistic it is or the unnecessary romance plot, remember, this is a movie, not a documentary, so if you actually want to see a film that discusses the same underdog plot but in an actual realistic way, just watch the Braun GP docuseries that talks about Braun GP in 2009. It has Keanu Reeves, so go watch it after this video. Next up for the actual stories now is the rumor that Seb could come back to the grid. Finally, some good fucking news. Max has seemingly confirmed that the rumors of Sebastian Vettel returning to the grid as Red Bull's advisor is true, since he said that Seb being back would be good for everyone and it's just good in general. Now, aside from Seb being a lovable guy who stands up for the right things, you may love the move because more Seb is good for all of us, but I love this move because of the impacts. If Seb makes this move, then that means that racist old grandpa who traffics children for his operation, Helmut Marko, is finally gone. Lord, thank you for this. I don't care if Seb will be good at his job or not. I need Helmut gone from the sport for good. So cross your fingers that this move actually happens. So please, F1 scriptwriters, let this move happen. Finally, I have the news around the FIA being idiots with pens again. More news at 5. In case you don't know, the FIA has released some new ruling and sporting updates, which has had a huge drawback. It essentially states that the move that Max did on George was a deliberate move that should warrant 4 penalty points. The problem with this is that Max was awarded 3 penalty points for the move, which barely kept him under the 12 rule limit that would have seen him banned for Canada. And in typical fashion, there was major backlash. My opinion is that, yeah, that's really messed up, but it's also in the past and there's no use bitching about it anymore since we know nothing will change the past now. But try telling that to Team LH. The fan base that still isn't over a race in 2021, of course, is having massive outrage about this and attacking Max, but like I said, what's the point? You know the results won't be changed, so why complain? The FIA are idiots, yes, but what are we supposed to do? Start a revolution led by fans? It's good to call out these inconsistencies so you can make others aware of the FIA's incompetencies, but please guys, don't attack the driver who benefits, don't hate the player, hate the game. Plus, if you think F1 has shit rule enforcers, then just you wait till you see literally every other sport in existence. Now for the ones to watch, and I have Ferrari here. Ferrari are bringing in mad upgrades out the wazoo, and they need to pay off soon or the team will sink hard for 2026. Silverstone is a track that has everything, so if Ferrari aren't good here, then maybe sound the alarms. Alright, time for what you probably skipped here for prediction times for the Silverstone weekend. As always, it must be stated that we'll predict 3 things: the top 5 in the quali, the top 5 in the race, and a random prediction from any session. It should also be noted that these predictions are based on nothing but pure vibes, so bear with me. No sprints this weekend, so let us begin with the quali predictions, and I predict that the top 5 on Saturday starting with 5th will be Charles Leclerc, and 4th will be Max Verstappen, and 3rd will be George Russell, and 2nd will be Oscar Piastri, and for pole position I have Lando Norris by 0.02 of a second. Now for the race predictions, and starting with 5th I have Charles Leclerc, and 4th I have George Russell, in 3rd I have Oscar Piastri, and 2nd I have Max Verstappen, and the winner of the British Grand Prix is Lando Norris, who narrowly wins for Max. Time for my random prediction, and I think in the qualifying, someone will get beached on the gravel at the end of Q2, which ends the session prematurely. Also, make sure to join the Discord to make your predictions for the weekend and have a chance to appear in the winners and losers. Anyways, that was my weekend preview for Silverstone. I cannot wait for this race since I know for sure this is gonna hit, since when have I ever been wrong about that? Teams are bringing in mad upgrades and we got some nice stories to keep us engaged, so why wouldn't this race bang? Give me a reason why right now. But yeah, I can't believe this season is nearly halfway done, so let us hope the second half is even better than the first. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the flock for their continued support. Make sure to join if you want cool benefits as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what your predictions are. And as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.